12 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for this week. The first guy, Corbin Burns, the Milwaukee Brewers. So Corbin Burns and the Brewers, we know, are having a falling out, and he wants out of there after they didn't offer him a type of deal he thought he deserved. So on the season for Burns, who was the first pitcher off the board in most fantasy leagues, 88 2/3 on the year, 5-5 record, 86 Ks, 3.96 ERA, a 1.15 WHIP, and 9 quality starts. On the surface, those numbers look decent, but obviously, like I said, he was a top pitcher taken in fantasy leagues this year, and those are mediocre numbers. In the last couple weeks, 19 innings, 1-1 record, 20 Ks, a 4.74 ERA, a 1.05 WHIP, and 2 quality starts in the time. So right now, Corbin Burns, he's not pitching well this season, considering what he's done over the last few seasons, and he's not happy over there for this Milwaukee Brewer team. So he's had some monster games, and then some games where he hasn't done much. So the last few outings from June 7th versus the Orioles, 8 innings, got the win in that one. 2 hits, no runs, 9 Ks, a quality start. June 13th at the Twins, pretty solid outing. 6 innings, no decisions, 7 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 8 Ks, a quality start. And then June 19th, he got roughed up in that ball game versus the Diamondbacks. 5 innings, got the loss in that one. 8 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. So Burns, he's been pitching pretty solid right before that. So right now, after coming off a bad outing, you definitely could get him on a little bit of a discount. And like I said, he's looking to get out of there at the trade deadline or in the offseason is Corbin Burns off this Milwaukee Brewer team. So right now that he's disgruntled, he hasn't pitched the greatest of baseball considering where he went in fantasy drafts this season. I think right now, after a bad outing versus the Diamondbacks, fantasy owners could go out there and make a deal for Burns and not have to give up a whole lot like they would have a few weeks ago. So his next outing is June 25th at the Guardians, where I think he definitely could bounce back. But right now, after the bad outing, I would try to go out there and make a deal for Burns. The next pitch is Hunter Brown of the Houston Astros. So Hunter Brown, one of the former top prospects, and he was the minor league pitcher of the year last year for the Astros. Now the first full season in the majors after last year, had a cup of coffee with 20 1/3. So on the year, 81 innings, 6-4 record, 90 Ks, a 3.78 ERA, 1.22 WHIP, and 7 quality starts. Solid numbers all around. But the last month, he's been a mediocre pitcher at best, 30 1/3. 2-3 record, 34 Ks, a 4.75 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, and 3 quality starts. So right now, this Astro team, I know they're 41 34 on the year here is Houston, but it just feels like they're a little bit off coming into this series before they beat the Mets 2 out of 3. They did lose 5 ball games in a row, and Hunter Brown did get roughed up by the Mets as well. So the last couple outings from June 13th versus the Nats, 7 innings, got the win, 4 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. And then June 19th, just off this outing alone, I think fantasy owners could get Brown on a little bit of discount. 5 2/3, got the loss. 7 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks in that one. So right now, this is what you want to look for. Pitchers who are pretty solid, who are going to go out there every 5th day and pitch good every 2 out of 3 outings at least. And if they're coming off a roughed up and getting rocked in their last outing, it's a time to get them. And Hunter Brown definitely fits that mold. Corbin Burns fit the mold. So right now with Brown, after coming off a bad outing versus a middle-of-the-pack Met offense, giving up 6 runs in that ball game, I think fantasy owners should go out there and get him. I know his next outing's a tough one as well at the Dodgers, June 25th. So right now, even after that outing, he will be a decent buy low candidate as well. So right now, Hunter Brown with the bad outing versus the Mets and a tough one coming up, obviously at the Dodgers, he's definitely a guy to keep on the radar this week and next to buy. The next pitcher is his teammate Christian Javier of the Houston Astros. So Christian Javier coming off a bad outing in yesterday's ball game versus the New York Mets, where he only lasted 2 1/3 and he got rocked in that ball game. But on the season as a whole, 80 2/3, 7-1 record, 76 Ks, a 2.90 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, and 8 quality starts. But like I said, the last couple weeks here haven't been great for Javier. Only 13 1/3, 0-0 record, 5 Ks, 5.27 ERA, a 1.57 WHIP, and a quality start in the time. So another guy coming off a bad outing versus a New York Met team that's not known for their offense really this season, but the last couple games they've actually hit this Astro pitching staff 2 out of 3 ball games. So Javier, the last few games for him, June 9th at the Guardians in that one for Javier, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks. June 15th versus the Nats, he bounced back, 6 innings, no decision, 5 hits, no runs, 2 Ks, quality start. And then June 21st versus the Mets, he got lit up 2 1/3 in that one. 4 hits, 4 runs, 5 walks, okay? So right now, the last 2 out of 3 outings versus mediocre to poor hitting teams haven't been good here for Christian Javier. So right now, while he's in a little bit of a funk in the month of June, is Javier, this is a perfect time for fantasy owners to go out there and get him. I know overall, the numbers obviously still solid, 7-1 on the season with a mid-3 ERA. But right now, like I said, 2 pretty weak hitting teams in the Mets and Cleveland. He didn't do much in those ball games as Javier. So right now, well, he's a little bit off in the last few ball games. It's the time to go out there and get him because you know he's got ace stuff. We know this Astro team might be on a little bit of a hangover still from the World Series where they're not hitting on all cylinders even though they still are 7 games over 500. But right now, Javier as a pitcher, I would go out there and get, especially coming off a bad outing like he did, only lasting 2 1/3. The next pitcher, Justin Verlander, the former Houston Astro, but obviously now the New York Mets. So Verlander, the Cy Young winner last season, and this year he just hasn't gotten things going. I know he missed the first month of the season, but it's been 1 great start, 1 bad start. It's been for Verlander this year in a row. 52 innings, 2-4 record, 44 Ks, 4.50 ERA, a 1.21 whip, and 4 quality starts. He's not even averaging right now, Verlander, a strikeout an inning. And the last month for him, 27 innings, 0-2 record, 24 Ks, a 5.33 ERA, 1.48 whip, and 2 quality starts. I know it's only June, but he's already pitched, Verlander, now 52 innings on the year, and he hasn't looked the same. Some games you see it, and then other games you don't see it at all, where he looks washed up. So right now, Verlander, the last 2 outings, they've been pretty solid, but of course, in the ball games he's pitched the last 2 outings pretty decent. The Mets haven't scored runs for Verlander, really. So the last 2 games for Verlander, June 8th at the Braves, he got rocked 3 innings in that one, 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks in that one, 3 Ks. June 14th versus the Yankees, bounced back, 6 innings, no decision, 3 hits, a run, 6 Ks, a quality start. Mets didn't score for him. And then June 20th at his former team, the Astros, in that one, 7 innings, got the loss, 8 hits, 4 runs, 5 Ks. So right now, Verlander, he's looking a little bit better over the last 2 outings, but he's still a guy not pitching up to form, and definitely not a guy pitching up to his contract. $43 million per year he's getting from the Mets. So right now, well, he's not getting anything going over the last few weeks, really, and not pitching to a top level. This is definitely a time for fantasy owners. Verlander on a buy low deal right now, where I think you just got to give up a decent hitter, or even give up another starter who you don't think is going to keep it going right now. Because Verlander, as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to figure things out. And yes, he's still going to have some poor ball games, but he's also going to have ace-like performances still, I believe, here, where you could get him this week on a discount. And the 5th and final pitcher I look to buy and trade for this week here is Chris Bassitt of the Toronto Blue Jays. So Bassitt got off to a roaring start in the first month and a half of the season, but the last few outings here, he's been batting practice on the year, 88 2/3, 7-5 record, 77 Ks, 4.16 ERA, a 1.20 whip, and 10 quality starts. On the surface, great numbers for Bassitt. But over the last few weeks, I've been mentioning more on this list here. And the last month of the season has been a train wreck, 32 2/3, 2-3 record, 29 Ks, a 6.06 ERA, 1.47 whip, and 3 quality starts. So right now, definitely struggling the last month of the season here is Bassitt. But like I said, he's an innings eater. He's a guy that's definitely hard on himself if he can't go out there and pitch good baseball. And right now, he's definitely in a funk, is Bassitt. But he definitely could turn things around. And I don't think it was a total fluke what we saw from him the first month and a half of the season. So the last few outings for Bassitt, June 7th versus Houston, 8 innings, got the win. 4 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks, a quality start. June 13th at the O's, he got bombed in that one. 3 innings, got the loss. 11 hits, 8 runs in that one, a walk, 5 Ks. And then June 18th at a great Texas Ranger hitting team, 3 2/3 in that one. 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks. So right now he's not going deep into games the last couple outings. After we saw a great 2 games in a row, June 2nd at his former team, the Mets, and June 7th versus the Astros, where he pitched like an ace in those games. So right now, back to the drawing board for Bassitt. But I think he could bounce back, and what better than to verse an Oakland Athletic team, one of his former teams, in tomorrow's ball game. I know the A's have been playing better baseball, but right now, Chris Bassitt's been struggling. This is the time to buy him low because he's got a good offense backing him over there. in Toronto, and I think he's going to figure things out. So that's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for in Week 12 of the fantasy baseball season.